So I won the vote poll, and today we are going to be redoing Enzo Maresca's 4-3-3 tactics with the Chelsea sort of hype into it. Now, I will say if this video gets to 100 likes, we will also do the McKenna tactic for those of you that did want to see it. We are going to be testing today with Leicester, Chelsea, and a powerhouse, and this tactic absolutely cooks. It dominated possession, it won the treble, completed over 18,000 passes, over 100 goals in the season. It ticked all the boxes. Chelsea fans, I think you might be in for a treat. Let's get in to the tactic testing. First up is going to be the team he just come from. That is going to be Leicester. Obviously, in real life, he enjoyed a great season, and in the game, we also enjoyed a great season. Ipswich down in 10th, though. Not very realistic, but Leicester come out and we pick up 112 points, absolutely dominating the Sky Bet Championship. And to be fair, we had 3 players inside of the top average rating, 2 players inside of the most assists, and picked up the 3rd most amount of clean sheets in the league. It wasn't an invincible season, and we do lose 4 games right here against the likes of Preston, Hull, Watford, and Norwich, but a very comfortable point deficit over Leeds and Southampton, the other 2 teams' 2-game promotion through automatics and, of course, the playoffs. Now, going over to the stats, we are looking at the stats going in our favour. 60% of the ball is going to be going to us, 34 fewest conceded, the most clean sheets, the most shots for, the fewest shots against, the most goals, and, of course, the most points per game. So dominating everything I would want to be seeing this team, obviously dominating, possession being a real key sort of perk I want to be seeing. Pass completion, we are actually going to be down in 7th, but that is a lot more negative than what it looks, as you know, we're picking up 89% of the ball, so actually it's not as negative as what it looks. 89% is still a really high stat line, but obviously a lot of teams completing 90%, but who won the division? That's what I thought. So at the end of the day, we're going to take having 1% less, because obviously possession-wise, we were on top, we outscored everyone, most shots, great defensively, not really too much to complain about. And again, the Data Hub is going to back this fact up even more, scoring 2.54 goals a game, only 0.74 conceded, over 16 shots a match, and 89% pass completion, actually edging towards 90%. So really, we didn't put a foot wrong. It was a bit of a unique Carabao Cup, and unfortunately, we could have won it because the team were definitely beatable, but unfortunately, we lose to Bournemouth in extra time in that Carabao Cup. And in terms of the FA Cup, it wasn't really too pretty, but the main job is to get them promoted, and we have definitely done that. Now, of course, over to Chelsea, and I think this is actually a really realistic finish, because he's not going to come in and win Chelsea the Premier League. That is simply not going to happen. I do think this is possible, though. Finishing in 3rd place, obviously above Villa, Man City, Arsenal, Tottenham, some of the big teams in the league, but Manchester United and Liverpool, just a little bit too much to deal with. We were actually quite close with Manchester United in 2nd place, but Liverpool were a league in their own. Now, of course, Nkunku does pick up the 2nd most amount of goals, and I do think Chelsea are going to need to go and actually sign an all-out striker, which hopefully they can do, because that is the one part they are really missing. But overall, in terms of the stats, we aren't going to feature in too much, apart from the most dribbles being made. Possession-wise, we are going to be quite up there, obviously with 58% of the ball. Defensively, 2nd best in the league. That comes to also 3rd place when it comes to the most clean sheets. So definitely not the most out there in terms of the stats, but we put in a very solid shift, got the job done, clenched Champions League. Well, actually convincingly got Champions League football, which obviously is going to be the main aim for Maresca going into his 1st season. The English Cups weren't too pretty, to be fair. Obviously, this one here is completely acceptable. This one isn't. Getting knocked out by Ipswich Town is an absolute disgrace, to be honest with you, but the fact we finished 3rd, I'll take it any day of the week. I think the issue with this team was the goals, really missing that goal scorer. As you can see, defensively, we were absolutely incredible, but we did struggle when it comes to getting the goals, and that is because I don't sign anybody to obviously suit these tactic tests. We do with what we've got, and at the end of the day, if we haven't got an all-out striker, we ain't going to score goals. The strikers they've got are really poor quality. They need to go out and sign someone who actually can put the ball in the back of the net. But besides that, we still had a lot of shots per game and a great pass completion, just missing an all-out goal scorer. Despite not having a goalkeeper, though, we were still able to dispatch some of the better teams in the league. Obviously, Arsenal, very good team in the league, and we come out and actually put on quite a convincing performance. A 2-0 win here, the 2nd goal coming in the 70th minute. It's quite a big team, it's quite a big win. And lastly, it's going to be the powerhouse of the video, probably what would happen if you went to a proper big team in a league where there isn't too much competition. That is going to be PSG, where, of course, we come out and become completely invincible. 31 wins and 3 draws. We've got 3 players in the goals, in the average rating, and in the assists, and picking up the most clean sheets, and 2 players in the most player of the matches. I mean, it is literally France all over. PSG dominate the French league time in, time out, and we're only going to leave 2 of the stat lines behind. We're going to have the most points per game, the most goals at practically double of Nice, the most shots, 300 over, or 200, shall I say, over Nice again, fewer shots against, the most possession, quite dominant in that regard as well, most dribbles, fewest conceded, and the most clean sheets. Pass completion down in 5th place, but again, we've got 89% of the ball, so, or 89% pass completion, so it's not really a bad stat line, just other teams obviously focused that element a little bit more, which simply didn't win them the league title. But going over to this, we are going to be be seeing what this tactic can do with the best of the best. Now, this isn't just if you're a powerhouse team. It could be that you're playing with Chelsea, but you've signed some really good players and your team is of a similar standard to a PSG. So if you are in that scenario, you can expect 3.62 goals a game, 0.38 conceded, 22 shots a game, an 89% pass completion, and an 81% tackle win ratio. Now, this conceded per game is a mixture of it being very good defensively, but also the fact is you're going to have lots of the ball, so if you've got the ball, they can't score. And we actually are going to win a Champions League final as well, but it did go all the way to penalties. It was actually a goalless fixture against Real Madrid, but we did come out better on the penalty scenario, which does surprise me, because Real Madrid, of course, are obviously quite a strong team when it comes to being quite icy in the Champions League, but on this occasion they don't get the job done, as it is quite ruthless with the penalties from us. We will simply score on every single chance we got and bring it home. We also are going to win the Trophy de Champion in 2-1 fashion over Toulouse, but we do lose the French Cup, so it's just going to be the treble. I say just, still quite a big achievement. Of course, over to your favourite part of the video, that is going to be the tactic breakdown. If you are enjoying, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and if you do want to gain over 13 perks and join the over 4,400 people, you can join the Patreon in the description below, where you can get access to all 3 of these tactics in one simple download. You get the tactics early, you're going to get my rebuild files, my rebuild tactic files, you personally get priority in the tactic and rebuild requests. I help you with your tactics, tweak your tactics, and also just becoming a Patreon, you get automatically enrolled to the monthly giveaway, which at the moment is a huge PayPal giveaway split in between 3 winners. So a lot of chance to win, definitely go over and get involved, but let's go through and talk about this tactic. So to kick things off, it's actually going to be based off a control possession tactical style, and quite common sense, we are going to be using the 4-3-3. For the back line, it is going to be quite composed, so we are going to go with a sweeper keeper. One thing we have learnt about Enzo Maresca is his goalkeeper always is going to be using that shorter passing, so that is why we're going to add that onto the player instructions to replicate his style. Now, when it comes to centre-backs, Enzo Maresca is a big fan of playing out from the back, so of course we are going to opt for 2 ball-playing defenders who are simply both going to be on the default instruction in this scenario to get the job done. No real need to have any more instructions. They're going to be doing exactly what I want them to do anyway, so we are going to leave them as they were. Now, on the left-hand side, we are going to go with an inverted wing-back on support with the additional instruction of mark tighter and also get further forwards, and we are also going to match that on the right hand side as well. So that is going to be 2 inverted wing backs who are both going to be on mark tighter and of course get further forwards. Very important you have get further forwards on, so otherwise they're going to be quite stagnant and not really having the impact they do in real life. Now, the great thing about this is it's very composed at the back. You've got a very sort of, you are got wing backs that are getting forwards, but they're not going to be too, attacking to the point where you're too vulnerable. Very composed, short passing, and it's really good to play and very, very dominating. Now, into the midfield, we are actually going to have this DM on defend, but we are going to add 1 instruction to him, and that is going to be more direct passes. They are known for shorter passing, this team, but they're also known for if they do need to go long to get out of a bad situation, they are going to do it. And to be honest, the one player role I would want doing that is the person sitting deep with the vision, with all of these talented players ahead of him. If he needs to go long, he can go long if he needs to. Now, next to him, we are going to go with a box-to-box. Of course, this has to be on support, and we are going to have 2 instructions. The first one is going to be moving to the channels and shorter passing. So already we are seeing a mixture now of a very sort of defensive-minded midfield player and a midfield player in the middle, which does mean we now need a midfield player who is going to be attack. So we have literally got the perfect trio of balance in this midfield, and that is going to be Emazala, who is going to be told to pass the ball shorter and dribble more. We know in this Leicester team, he likes the players having sort of individual sort of moments of brilliance, dribbling with the ball, so having this on is absolutely key. Going over to the left hand side, we are going to opt for an inside forward player who is going to be set to attack, and if we go onto his player instructions, we are going to be going with cross aim centre, and we are also going to be going with stay wider. Now, on the right hand side, we are going to go with another inside forward who is going to be set to attack with a bit of a different set of instructions. It is going to be stay wider, but it's also going to be set to shoot more often. Now, before I see the comments, I will answer it right now. You can flip these around if your winger on the left has got better finishing. You can have shoot more often on the left, vice versa, just to clarify that. And lastly, we are going to finish off the team with actually a complete forward, who, funnily enough, is going to be on attack. Very convenient the game has selected that, and we are going to have him on more often with the trigger press, so it should say close down more. Now, I have been getting a lot of questions on, Josh, how do you click close down more? That is simply not there for me as an option. You simply need to go through all of your team instructions and make sure they are all set to blank, because it can prevent you having this instruction on, and the same thing can happen for passes shorter from the goalkeeper. So do your player roles first. Going over to the team instructions for the default tactic, it is obviously going to be the custom control on the positive mentality. We are going to look to underlap left and underlap right, while we are going to look to play out from the back as well. This part is absolutely crucial if you want to replicate a Maresca style. We are going to go with the higher tempo, match with that shorter passing, be more expressive, and of course, work ball into the box. So it is going to be quite an aggressive, fast-paced system, but passing-wise, it is obviously going to be restricted to a bit more of a shorting passing style. Now, in transition, we're going to have a little bit to talk about. We are, of course, going to hit on the counter press. We're not going to have anything selected when possession has been won, because we're not looking to counter or really hold the shape in a default tactic, so simply leave it blank. And when it comes to distribution, of course, we are a team that plays out from the back, so we are going to look to play to anyone across the back line, simply taking short goal kicks. Nice and simple. Lastly, out of possession, of course, we are going to deploy the higher defensive line with the high pressing line of engagement. Much more often is going to be an absolute necessity for this tactic. We are going to step the line up a little bit more as well, be quite aggressive in that regard. And lastly, we are simply going to have prevent short goalkeeper distribution, and optional, you can have get stuck in. I personally didn't though for the default. I've made an attack and tactics. Obviously, I did say with Chelsea, we did struggle to get some goals, and I do believe this could be a little bit more of a goal scoring tactic. And if you are going to go out and sign an all-out striker, I would recommend you do use this tactic. So it is going to be a sweeper keeper simply on pass it shorter. We now actually introduce two wing backs on the right and on the left. They are both going to be the same: on dribble more, run wide, stay wider, and mark tighter. We then keep the same two ball playing defenders because they do their job really, really well. A deep lying playmaker instead of the DM on support on more direct passes. Still quite defensive, but a little bit more attack and minded when it comes to getting the ball further forwards. The box to box is going to remain in the team, but this time is also going to be told to get further forwards alongside of passing it shorter and move it into the channels. And the Marzala is actually going to remain exactly the same, so don't really need to talk about that. Now on the left, we are going to have the inside forward on attack, simply on cross aim centre, and on the right, shoot more often. Again, you can flip them. They are not going to be staying wider because we have got the wing backs now obviously going wide instead of making underlap and runs, so we don't want to have a bit of a collision on either side of the wings. So they are simply going to be on shoot more often and cross aim centre, and we replace the complete forward with a bit more of a goal scoring role in this game. That is going to be the advanced forward, who does remain on close down more. So again, it is going to be based off the custom control possession on the attacking mentality. This is going to remain in the middle with overlap left, overlap right is going to be selected. We're going to play out from the back with shorter passing directness, with that wonderful higher tempo is also going to be selected. We're going to work the ball into the box, and we are also going to be more expressive. So the real big change in this variant is obviously instead of underlapping runs, we're going to go on the outside with the wing backs instead of the inverted options. Just something a little bit different, and to be honest, I think it also suits Chelsea's team. Now, I do think Maresca's going to come in and still play with them inverted options, and he will definitely not change from a 4-3-3 because he is very stubborn in that regard. So this is a bit of a twist on the usual system. Now in transition, we have got a few things to talk about. It's going to be very similar, but a couple of things, or one big thing has changed, and that is going to be the addition of distribute quickly. Everything else is simply going to remain exactly the same as the previous variant because that is simply the way that he plays. But going over to the out of possession, we are still going to stick with the higher defensive line. We are going to max out the trigger press. We are going to prevent short goalkeeper distribution. We are going to step up more, and on this occasion, we are definitely going to back get stuck in. Now, to defend those games out, or if you are playing as a real low-down team, I have gone to the effort to make you a defensive tactic, and this is going to remain with the goalkeeper being on pass it shorter. Two inverted wing-back options now who are both going to be on defend on mark tighter, with two default ball-playing defenders. The DM comes into the team, the same instruction as in the default, is going to be playing those more direct passes. And Marzala drops down to support on the left, on support, on pass it shorter, and dribble more. And next to him is going to be a central midfield player with a fair few instructions, which are going to remain on pass it shorter, take fewer risks, shoot less often, run from position, and move into the channels. On the left is going to be an inside forward, on pass it shorter, roam and stay wider. And on the right, that is also going to be exactly the same. So it is going to be a 4-3-3, but as you can imagine, a lot more possession based, not as many goals going in, but a lot higher possession level, because everyone is passing the shorter, coming inside and picking up the ball, and playing risk-free football at the end of the day. And lastly, the complete forward comes back into the team, but this time on support, on close down more. So again, the custom control possession, this time back to the positive mentality, not balanced. We are going to go with positive today, and we are simply going to have play out from the back. No real overlapping or underlapping options, because obviously those inverted wing backs are going to be quite defensive. We are going to go all the way down to much shorter with a slightly higher tempo and simply work ball into the box. So you're not going to be as attacking with this tactic, but you are going to have a lot more of the ball. So if you are sort of playing as a real low down team with some decent passing quality, maybe you don't want to go in all guns blazing against one of the top teams, this this could really suit you. And obviously on the flip coin of that, if you are playing as a top team but you simply want to defend a game out, you can also play like this as well. But in transition, there is going to be one big change. The things that don't change is going to be the counter press, playing to anyone across the back line, and the short goal kicks. But the big change is going to be the addition of hold shape. And lastly, of course, we are going to go to the out of possession, where we are going to actually rock the standard defensive line, the high press and line of engagement, short goalkeeper distribution is going to be selected, with trigger press being the go-to choice. But that is going to complete for you boys and girls back home 3 variants of Enzo's hopefully good Chelsea team next year. If you have enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, comment right now 2 tactics you want to see and 2 rebuilds you want to see. Let's get a massive sort of list built up for the rest of the year. It is building up nicely already. If you do want to join the Patreon and support the channel, make sure I can see you making these videos, doing the best I can, feel free to do so in the description below, but I'll see you in the next one.